With the country's economic output now at pre-COVID levels, unemployment at its lowest, and debt below pre-COVID levels,
now is the time to consider our strong recovery and reignite a decade of growth, peace, and prosperity.
With that charge, the government will continue infrastructure development projects, strengthen policies and legislation, and improve efficiency in the 2023-2024 financial year. Key among these is the appointment of a fiscal commissioner to bring the Fiscal Commission into operation as the guardian of Jamaica's financial rule.
It is also the intention to strengthen the regulations of the financial sector by unifying prudential supervision and regulation under the Bank of Jamaica, while pursuing the establishment of a separate regulator for market conduct and consumer protection.
Regulations governing the selection of board members of public bodies will also come into effect.
In building our stronger Jamaica, transformative infrastructure that provides lasting social and economic value is being given priority.
These include the Maypen to Williamsfield leg of the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project, the Harbour View to Port Antonio Highway, the Montego Bay Perimeter Road, and the North Coast Highway Expansion Project. Flagship projects such as the new Parliament Building, the Government Campus, the Portmore Resilience Park, and the Kingston Harbour Walk will get underway.
In addition, the government will implement a multi-billion Jamaican dollar special capital expenditure program during 2023-24, which will see the development of major corridors in the corporate area.
An investment of over $6 billion is also earmarked to start construction on the Spanish Town Hospital and continue work on Cornwall Regional and the Western Children and Adolescent Hospitals, as well as the University Hospital of the West Indies. Measures to protect and preserve the environment will include the tabling of an overarching policy for protected areas. Others include the Watersheds Policy, the Climate Change Policy Framework, and the Emissions Policy Framework. Further protection of coastal waters will be strengthened with the purchase of additional marine vessels.
Already, we are seeing the results of greater interdiction of narcotics, illegal and irregular fishing, and a reduction of the flow of guns.
The focus on social protection in the 2023-24 financial year will see the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities being fully staffed and the Disabilities Rights Tribunal being appointed.
A strategic review of the National Council for Senior Citizens will be conducted to ensure that the Council is fit for purpose and equipped to fulfill its mandate.
Recommendations of the 2019 actuarial review of the National Insurance Scheme will be presented to Cabinet for tabling in Parliament. The unaudited net asset value of the National Insurance Fund as at December 2022 stood at approximately $156 billion.
In 2023-2024, focus will be placed on the reform of the fund with the aim of establishing a more robust organizational structure and investment policy.
To address another social need, the National Housing Trust will be introducing a new financial model, partnering with regulated mortgage lending institutions. This is to increase the supply of mortgages and release funds to develop affordable housing. And priority focus will continue to be placed on addressing gender-based violence, with a third government shelter set to be operationalized by December 2023 in the Western region. It will provide a confidential and safe space for female victims and survivors. Also,
consequent on parliamentary approval of the amendments to the Firearms Act, drafting instructions have been issued for further amendments to be made to the Domestic Violence Amendment Act based on inputs provided by the Ministry of National Security. For 2023-2024, the government will pursue key legislative reforms to advance efforts towards realizing improved public order, improved public safety, and reduction in crime and violence, by prioritizing the following:
the Fingerprints Act, the Immigration Restriction Commonwealth Citizens Act, the Aliens Act, the Proceeds of Crime Act to include unexplained wealth, and the Corrections Act. These are among 30 pieces of legislation critical to several sectors that will have the Houses of Parliament busy navigating their passing. A few others include the Rent Restriction, Port Authority, and Harbors Acts. There are also the Jamaica Teaching Bill, which is now before a joint select committee of Parliament, amendments to the Education Act and Regulations, and the Child Care and Protection Amendment Bill. The Ministry of Health will be focusing on the Tobacco Control Bill and the Food and Drugs Amendment Bill, among others. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries will seek to repeal the Plants Quarantine Act and replace it with the Plants Health Act, in addition, tackling amendments to the Agriculture Produce Act. Further amendments will be made to the Criminal Records Rehabilitation of Offenders Act, commonly called the Expungement Act, the Employment Agencies Regulation Act, the Civil Aviation Act, the Local Governance Amendment Bill, and the Counties and Parishes Amendment Bill.
The new bail bill, which is now being reviewed by a joint select committee of the Houses of Parliament, will provide an improved legislative framework, or rather an improved legislative framework for bail when passed into law, and will assist in the fight against crime.
A major part of the policy agenda for fiscal year 2023-2024 is the continued implementation of the new public sector compensation reform. Phase 2 will be carried out in the new fiscal year with an allocation of $338 billion budgeted.
The new compensation system reduces and simplifies the unwieldy 325 salary scales and 183 allowances.
The government will also conduct a labor market study of the tourism sector. This will be used to address areas of labor shortage and facilitate hiring arrangements. And as the administration focuses on building a stronger Jamaica, it will include leveraging international relationships at the bilateral, regional, and multilateral levels. This is to secure support for the country's social and economic development objectives.
Let us create a future deserving of generations to come.